Hello, everyone. Welcome to the original Next Level Gaming podcast. I am Mike Mullis. I am here with my co-host tonight. As always, I have Enrique. Tonight, we have a special guest. You know him on the Twitters as Worrywart. Brian, welcome in. Thanks for hanging with us tonight.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here.
Well, we're honored to have you. You're always the voice of reason on Twitter, and
people love that, don't they? They love reason.
Oh, yeah, it fits in
Especially
so well, especially on Twitter. So,
Right.
hey, man, look, you even keep me in check when the time comes. So,
I'm not going to say it.
well, Enrique, I'll tell you, last week he was like, Mike, you should go to GAF, and I said, you know what? I'm going to tell Worry that if he ever sees me even trying to go to GAF, grab me by the scruff of the neck and yank me back.
It was great though. You were so passionate.
Yeah, I have visions of Mike waking up in the middle of the night just screaming, "Gav!"
All right,
Damn you, Gav.
all right. Well, we have given them way too much airtime. So,
Yeah, exactly.
So thanks for being with us tonight, and we got a lot to talk about, so we're going to jump right into it. So, as everybody knows, last week Square Enix decided to, for whatever reason they felt necessary, to announce the release dates for Rise of the Tomb Raider for both the PC and for the PlayStation 4. PlayStation 4 is coming in holiday 2016, and the PC version is coming sometime in between the Xbox release and the PS4 release. So, first and foremost, before we jump into the actual discussion on this, when this thing broke, everybody who knows me on Twitter knows that I've been very adamant that I wasn't at all believing this game was coming out on the PS4. There were a bunch of people who said, absolutely it is, and I was one of those who said no, it's not. It could come out on PC, but not on PS4. And so when this announcement came through, when it was put on Square's blog, all these people were retweeting and favoriting all of my old quotes. So I just wanted to remind people that there were some really good evidence as to why many of us, because it wasn't just me, thought that the game would not reach the PS4. And I want to go back, and actually, so before I do that, Brian, you actually at one point we were on Xbox Live, and you were taking the other side. That you thought for sure that it would.
Yeah.
So you thought it was coming?
Yeah, I couldn't envision any scenario where a game like that, a big third-party game, especially the sequel to one of the biggest reboots, when that came out of nowhere. I did not see Tomb Raider being rebooted in the way that it was and being successful, and I was blown away by it when it came out. That was one of my favorite games last year. So I just couldn't see any way that they would keep this game off of the PlayStation, especially since now, Lara Croft Tomb Raider did not start on the PlayStation, but it gained its prominence when it went to the PS1. So I just didn't see that happening. But I was confused. I know you'll get into some of the rhetoric that Phil Spencer used, and I was confused by it.
I was absolutely confused. Enrique, what did you think?
Yeah, I actually didn't think the game was going to make it to the PlayStation 4. I mean, and that goes back to what Phil was saying, comparing the game to some of the other deals that he's had with some other franchises like Rise and Dead Rising 3. So I figured that it would eventually make it to the PC. I just felt like that was the next natural step for that game to land on PC, but I didn't think it was going to land on PlayStation 4. Again, based on what Phil had said.
Right.
And I have those quotes up. I wanted to read them because, a lot of people who said, you were misreading or you were misunderstanding. So I want to make it, obvious that, we picked these quotes up for. This was Eurogamer. This was right after Gamescom last year when the announcement was made, and Eurogamer had a long drawn out interview with Phil on this. And he said, here are the quotes that Worry and you were alluding to about what he said that confused everybody. Now, obviously, if I'm going to partner on it, I'm a platform holder. I'm hardly going to invest to go make the PlayStation version of any game. It is a business. So when we go invest with a partner on a big franchise, we're going to come with certain needs we have out of the relationship. And then he goes on to say, I get the reaction I see. If I'm a PlayStation person, I feel like, oh, all of a sudden the franchise, keep in mind he uses that word franchise a lot, the franchise is going. I didn't buy the IP. I didn't buy the studio. It's not mine. So he keeps using the words franchise and I didn't buy the IP. He keeps saying, I have a deal with this game. And then he says, where this thing will go over time, just like Dead Rising, a game that has never reached the PS4, or something else, we'll see where those things go. Just like Rise, another game that was published by Microsoft. It came out on the PC because Crytek still owned the IP, but it never reached the PS4. We'll see what happens with the games. And here's another money quote. I don't own every iteration of Tomb Raider. I have a certain relationship on this version of Tomb Raider, which we announced, and I feel really good about our long-term relationship with Crystal and Square. Now, when I read that, that led me to believe that this was an actual exclusive. And in fact, when Eurogamer first broke this news, they even said in their byline, this did not look like a timed exclusive. It was kind of only until everybody started pounding on Phil Spencer and Square about how could you, when it finally came out that, this was some sort of time deal. But, I mean, did I misread this? Was this something that I just missed the boat on?
I don't think so. When I first heard those comments, I thought the same thing that you did, which is why I started to think about it. Like you said, those previous games, they didn't make it to the PlayStation. They made it to the PC. So I thought maybe, if the game's going to the Xbox One and then goes to the PC, maybe that's enough of an install base to offset going to the PlayStation, and maybe Square decided that was a good deal. And that deal had to be there from the beginning. It's not like it was an open-ended deal and then they could say, well, we'll wait and see how well the game sells, and then we'll tell you if we're putting it on the PlayStation. So I just assumed that when he said that it was going to stay. I never believed it, but I thought, wow, how is this going to work? And like you said, hearing that, you would think that he locked up that particular game, not the franchise, but that particular game. And when he says, I wouldn't spend money to go make the PlayStation version of a game, well, you could say, well, it's semantics. He's really just saying that he's making sure that Square puts all the resources into making the best Xbox One game they possibly can. But nobody thinks that when they hear that. When they hear that, they think he locked up that game for the Xbox into perpetuity, exclusive, which was a strange thing to say. It was a bit misleading.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I read it as, him, again, locking down that franchise, it not going to the PlayStation by him saying, hey, I'm not going to invest in something that's going to go to the competitor's platform and going to PC. So I think like everyone else, we all kind of thought that, this thing was going to be at least console exclusive to the Xbox One.
Right.
We know that's not the case now. And Mike, we talked about this the other day too. I kind of think, and I'm kind of one of those have that conspiracy theory now that maybe there's another version out there that's not going to be the Xbox One version. Kind of like what we talked about the other day with, I think we used Ninja Gaiden as an example. When that came out exclusive last generation, the PlayStation 3 version came out. It was a different game. What was that, Ninja Gaiden Sigma? I think it was.
It was. So, and that's
it was Sigma.
And that's
Ninja Gaiden Black, right? And then there was Ninja Gaiden Sigma.
Right, and Sigma was the PS3 version, and it's kind of interesting.
I don't see that happening. I'm not sure because they're developing this game. They have the engine, and you're saying that somebody other than Square is now going to make a Tomb Raider game similar to Square's game and put it on the PlayStation, or they're going to use that engine and license it to somebody else besides Square.
Are they going to
use a whole lot of work? Doesn't it seem strange to do that?
Well, are they going to use, and this was brought up on social media, and I don't buy into this myself, but so it's been offered up on social media that perhaps what the PS4 is going to get is the version that I think Nexus is making for the 360. Now, I don't subscribe to that. I don't. But the opposite side of it, which kind of is interesting, is that whole I'm hardly going to invest to make a PlayStation version of a game. Well, if Square is going to, or if Crystal Dynamics is going to develop that game in-house, they're going to be using pretty much Microsoft's money. Microsoft's putting development and publishing money into this game, and if Crystal Dynamics comes up with a PS4 version on their own, they're not going to be restarting the game from scratch. They're going to be using the work that they did on the Xbox version as their base, if not the game, and it's going to entail Microsoft's money. And that's why this is why I don't understand what in the world went on with this. Why would you make this announcement before the Xbox version has even shipped? Because you have cost Microsoft by doing this an unknown number. I can't say that it's a large number. It may not be. But you've cost them an unknown number of game sales. And I honestly believe you've cost them an unknown number of console sales. People who might have been on the fence and who were, they may have a PS4 or a PC now, and they say, well, the Xbox is the only, the PS4 is not going to get Rise of the Tomb Raider, so I want to play that game. I'm going to get an Xbox. There are a lot of people who have now pretty much said, well, we're not going to be hurting for games next year, so, I'll play Uncharted, and I'll play Last Guardian if it comes out next year, and I'll play whatever else, and then Tomb Raider I'll play next holiday. I'm fine with that.
There's a lot of strange decisions. I mean, if they were worried about Tomb Raider not selling consoles or selling consoles, I wouldn't have made the release date the same day as Fallout 4, which is strange.
This is true, too.
Yeah, that is strange.
I don't think they're going to use a completely different engine because, I mean, it's their trilogy, it's their series, so the games have to follow in succession. I don't think they're going to want one game looking like the next-gen Xbox One version of Rise of the Tomb Raider, and then a year later, during the holiday, mind you, when you're going to have these bundles, and I can almost see it now, the Rise of the Tomb Raider bundle, Lara Comes Home to PlayStation, the exclusive whatever content comes out on the game. I think it's going to be the same game. I don't think it's going to be the 360 version.
Boy, if they do a Lara Comes Home bundle,
oh boy!
Oh my God! But this is why I feel like
I could see that happening.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
This is why I felt like
marketing.
Yeah, they are. Oh my God, they are.
Yeah, Lara Comes Home to PlayStation.
This is why I feel like Square has cut Microsoft's legs out from under them.
Yeah.
And look, nobody's an insider. There's no such thing as an insider in the gaming business. I don't care who you are or what you say.
You might be, Mike.
No. As an old guy in game journey, an old press guy, we were the closest you ever got to being an insider. But let me tell you, nobody ever told you something that they didn't want you to know, that they didn't think was going to be out there somewhere. And the same thing happens now. All these people who claim that they're insiders and they have all this inside information, they don't. They may hear something out in the wind and then repeat it, hoping that nobody calls them on it, but nobody has those contacts in the industry that slide them information so they can put it out on forums and on social media, and nobody's that dumb that they're going to release information that they might think is going out into the wild. So where I'm going with that is nobody's going to know what Microsoft and Square are actually thinking. So I'm taking a total complete guess. There have been people out there that have said that this was Microsoft's call. They were fine with it. They perfectly condone this. I don't believe that at all. And I think Microsoft actually is a bit more angry about this than anybody wants to know. Because number one, I don't know anybody in their right mind who would actually still be working at Microsoft if I was the boss, who said, we have this game, it's our exclusive. We want to make sure that people remember it's our exclusive, but hey Square, go ahead and just announce our competitor's release date. No, nobody's doing that.
Hey, let me ask you a question. Do you think, with the delay of Uncharted 4, that the whole idea of keeping the narrative of it being an exclusive sort of went out the window?
Ooh.
You know what I mean? They wanted to drive that we have something to compete in the action-adventure genre with Uncharted 4, and now Uncharted 4 is delayed. Square Enix, Microsoft are thinking, what's the big deal now about holding this idea of it being exclusive? Maybe a little bit of pressure from Sony on the back end saying, hey, our users want this game too. What's going on with this deal? Who knows?
Well, now how much, we haven't talked about how much pressure Sony may have exerted in this.
That's a good point. And Mike, I think you brought up earlier in the week that, they've had a cushy relationship, Sony and Square Enix.
Mm-hmm.
With Sony previously owning
stock,
yeah. So perhaps there was some, there's a little bit of nudging from Sony saying, "Hey, what's up? Our players want this too. When's the release date?
Right.
We you got to announce this too." So
if Square told them anything about what Microsoft's deal was, that's a nuclear bomb ready to go off. Now, I don't think that happened, but Worry, you have a good point. We've never broached the subject of maybe Sony.
Saying, with Sony delaying Uncharted 4, if you're in Sony's camp, you're thinking, we don't have Uncharted 4 this holiday. There's this big action-adventure title coming also. We want our users to know that they're going to get it too, because we don't have that big Uncharted 4 this holiday. So maybe that put a lot of pressure on their side to get that information. And conversely, maybe Microsoft and Square decided, hey, it's not a big deal anymore because Uncharted 4 is delayed.
Yeah, but the only reason I would say no on that, only because the delay actually benefits Microsoft on this, because now they don't have to directly compete with it, where they were thinking they were going to have to directly compete with it. Now they have it to themselves. What better way to say, hey guys, come and play on our console, because guess what? We have the only action-adventure game out now.
Right. That's what I'm saying, though, on the Sony side. Like you're saying, it doesn't hurt Microsoft, but on the Sony side, with Uncharted 4 getting delayed, it does hurt them in the action-adventure genre this holiday. So maybe they said, let's try and get that information out there that Tomb Raider is also coming.
Yeah, it's also coming, yeah.
I'm telling you, if there was a collusion, I mean, that's some serious stuff. I mean, that would be a serious breach of trust between Square and Microsoft. Seriously. But let me add some weight to this for you guys, because I'm not at all suggesting that you're out of any kind of realm of possibility here, Worry. Let me fast forward now to July 27th. On the Examiner.com site, CEO of America and Europe, Phil Rogers, Square Enix's CEO of those regions, said, this is weird. This is really bizarre. Here's what he said. What we saw in Microsoft, which is probably not as well known, is that Microsoft's passion for Tomb Raider is amazing. Having been working with us on previous games in a lesser sense, they've been supportive. However, for Rise of the Tomb Raider, they've just brought this passion and belief that has really enabled us to blow people away. People should feel that about Microsoft. Their commitment to Tomb Raider is just amazing for us. And then he goes on to say, their passion, or it, becomes the most important thing. We're about growing our IP. This is a long-term decision. We're going to take Tomb Raider up to the next level with Microsoft's belief, passion, and sort of muscle. Keep that in the back of your head. Sort of muscle to help us deliver. We really think this is going to be an awesome game that people will enjoy for years and years to come. Now, doesn't that actually make it sound like it is a platform exclusive game?
I like the muscle term. You could take take the muscle out and put money in.
Well,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Right. It is strange. The whole concept behind the narrative when every time they talked about it, it was sort of like, well, it's kind of not exclusive, but it is exclusive, and it's not going here, but it might, and I don't own this, but I kind of do. It was really strange, and I really do think that the whole idea of competing with Uncharted had to do with that.
It
And
very well may be.
Yeah, I think it did. Yeah.
yeah, and once Uncharted was delayed, I think all bets were off.
It just seems like, I mean, I could almost take that quote and say, with Microsoft's belief, passion, and sort of muscle, we're going to make this an awesome game. Oh, and then we're going to put it out on their competitor's platform. I mean, what the what? This is the weirdest thing, and it kind of brings me into a question that I've then asked. You know, when I believed that this was a console exclusive, I thought this was great. I mean, if you're going to lock up a game, this is the game to lock up. You know, and let me let me make a little side note, because a lot of the console warrior fanboy argument has been to ravage Microsoft for the money hatting of Tomb Raider, the locking up this timed exclusivity. I'd like to remind people that in 1997,
Tomb Raider 1, 2, 3.
yeah, all PlayStation exclusive, Sony didn't just lock up a game for a year; they locked up the whole damn franchise.
Final Fantasy.
By the time, well, yeah, by the time the Dreamcast got the last scraps of Tomb Raider, the last revelation, that was a shell of a game.
Yeah.
It was the last game, I believe, that was made by Eidos and Core Design before Eidos was bought by Square.
Wasn't it Angel of Darkness?
No, it was the last revelation.
Who did Angel of Darkness? That was horrible.
Oh, that was a horrible game.
Oh,
Angel of Darkness was. Oh,
I don't remember
good
either.
grief.
Yeah.
It was Core. No, it was Core and Eidos. It was 2003. It came out for. That was one of the.
PS2.
Yep, it was PS2,
Yep.
Windows, and Mac.
Mhm.
It was the first Tomb Raider title that came out for the PS2. I don't think anything hit. I think the next thing that became multi-platform was Legend. I
Right.
think Legend was multi-plat because that came out for the 360.
Well, you know what? What would you say is worse? Locking up a game for a year and then everybody gets to play it? Or locking up a game forever a la Street Fighter V and no one gets to play it?
And you know, the argument has been, well, you know, Sony. So if Sony didn't step in with money, the game wouldn't be made.
The game, yeah.
That's been their argument, and you know, I don't. It's hard for me because I'm not a fighting game guy.
I'm not either.
But I can understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Nobody lifts a finger of dislike over that deal. But this is like the worst thing ever in gaming. And those people forget what Sony did. Sony was the originator of the exclusivity lockdown of this game, of this series. So,
Well, some of those guys, you know, started just gaming too, probably, you know, last gen.
Yeah. Well, you know,
So don't have that historical perspective.
no, that's true.
it's strange because, like, it almost seems like when you're the market leader, it's almost like you're entitled to do that. But when you're not the market leader, if you try and do it, it's seen as a bad thing. It's really an odd, you know.
Oh, it was seen as a bad
threat.
thing.
Viewed as a threat.
Microsoft, it was seen as a bad thing on Microsoft's part even last gen. I mean, they were getting bashed. You got to remember, and I've said this, and I stick by this, and it's very easy to go to our old site on that Internet Wayback Machine, and the link is on our YouTube page. It is very easy to go back and see some of our E3 articles, and you can tell that the dislike and the that anti-Microsoft push has been a 15-year thing, and that's now that the PS4 is the market leader, the press doesn't have to care one bit about what Microsoft says or does. they'll gloss over the good and hammer home the bad. They couldn't really do it last year because, as Worry, you alluded to, that they were the market leader. They had to. The press really had to tolerate Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have to do that now. That's been my position. It's been very well known, and I stick by that to the bitter end. Well, and look, because Enrique always teases me about Gaff, right? He always and he that 2 weeks ago.
I knew you were going to bring it up.
2 weeks ago.
It's only because of the passion and because you went to Gaff that day, and I forget what happened there. Something
I
set
forgot
you
what
off.
it was, but it set me off, and it was the last time I went that I tell people about.
Well, there was something Gaff related today. I think you tweeted something about an article that was inspired by
Only because the articles are I didn't actually go to Gaff, but the articles about what. Oh God, I can't believe we're going to talk about this.
We don't have to.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, we can stop you right here.
A developer who is known on Twitter for being a bombastic jerk to fans, to people he doesn't like, and to every company known to man, said something on Twitter about Microsoft, quickly deleted it, probably was angry because he was asked to be put on Gamescom stage, and he doesn't like that kind of thing.
Yep.
And instead of just letting it go, the media went, all in, and they actually sourced Gaff, and it drives me nuts.
Well,
anyway, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Gaff had actually taken a picture of the tweet before it was taken down. So,
Right. So.
Yeah, and then.
But as much as when I was really hammering on them on Twitter, I mean, the reason that I do and that I call out the media so much and believe is let's just remember that site. It rhymes with Horaku. Had the owner.
What site is that?
Man, you worked really hard for that rhyme.
It's a site. It rhymes with Torbaku.
Okay.
Chubaku.
Okay.
It rhymes with Chubaku.
Okay.
Remember, they had said owner of said forum, who one of the head writers of said site is a member of, and actually writes articles to kind of, get that kind of fame from them, had that owner on his site to promote his forum, and allowed said owner to lodge a really serious bribery accusation against a Microsoft executive.
Also known as the handshake.
Also known as the handshake. Without any journalistic investigation, any pushback, any nothing. So this is what the media does, and when it comes to Microsoft, that kind of stuff is allowed. That's where I get it from. Those kind of things. We're going to talk about online in a minute, and there's another one that we'll bring up, but that's where it comes from for me.
Enrique, I would never know what Gaff was if it wasn't for Stinger. Mike. If it wasn't for Mike, I would not know.
You know what? That place is just terrible. It's a bad place. It's a place full of cynicism. I don't even know why developers still go there.
Well, there's probably because there's a large market that they could tap into. The marketing right now is revolved around speaking to one side or the other, saying the right thing and pushing the agenda, and that's where you go. I would assume that's where you would go.
You hit it on the head. It's speaking to one side or another.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, we got off on a tangent, and I don't even remember where we came from. See, you get me on there. You get me on there, and I just
it's so hard to get you on the gaff, right?
Yeah, and I just lose my mind.
Well, he kind of led into it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes, I did, because I was railing against the media.
We were Tomb Raider. We're moving on from Tomb Raider.
Yes, we are moving on from Tomb Raider. We've beaten it to death. I think everybody has. The only thing that I will ask you guys at this point is my last question on this. Now that now that we know it's timed, it's truly timed, there's no ambiguity. Is this a bad deal for Microsoft?
I don't, I thought about it. I mean, spending the money, I can't say that, I wish they spent money on new IP because we know that they are spending money on new IP. Quantum Break, Recore, the Rare Replays coming out.
Mm-hmm.
What's the other new IP? I'm drawing a blank. Scalebound.
Mm-hmm.
So they're spending money on new IP too, and I really think that when Phil Spencer looked at Uncharted 4 coming, he wanted something to go against that.
And he said that too.
Yeah,
he said that. Mm-hmm.
So I can't say that I wish they spent money on a new IP because they are, but think about it this way: you can wait 4 months and go buy Tomb Raider only on the Xbox. You can wait 6 months and go buy Tomb Raider only on the Xbox. You can wait 12 months and go out and still only get Tomb Raider on the Xbox. So is it that big a deal? Are some people going to say, well, now I'm not buying it, I'm waiting? I'm sure there are. I don't know if it's enough to make a big deal, but I'll tell you what will matter is that people need to go out and buy games.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, if they want these games and it's a big deal, then go out and buy them. Because if you don't, other people will.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And we're off podcasting. You and I have talked about this. I don't know where Xbox gamers are with buying new IP. Now Phil recently was asked about Sunset Overdrive, and he wouldn't give out any real sales numbers.
Mm-hmm.
On Insomniac's forum, I don't know if it was James Stevenson. I don't know who from Insomniac answered a question about whether the game was coming to the PS4 or other platforms. They have said there are no plans to put the game out on PC or other platforms. Not at this time or anything like that. There are no plans. So it's going to remain a console exclusive. But what he said was, whoever is out there saying we only sold 500,000 copies, that's not even close to accurate. The thing is, we don't know how many they sold, but it never really charted on any of the MPD or
No.
UK charts. Where are the people buying the games that Microsoft is trying to invest in? Sunset Overdrive, Forza Horizon 2. Where are all the Forza Horizon 2 buyers?
You can't just spend all your time making lists and saying, I have 3, you have 2, I win. You have to go out and buy these games.
Right.
I'll give you an example. Today, Rocket League. Now, it's a free game on the PlayStation, if you remember. But it just passed 5 million downloads.
Yep.
It's incredible.
So I mean, yes, it's free, but that's a lot of people jumping in and supporting a game.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, how many Xbox Ones were out there when Sunset shipped?
There were still quite a few million.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
People have to remember, I know that there's this stigma that the PS4 is getting close to outselling the Xbox One globally 2-1. But when you come back to North America and UK, that gap is not big. There's not this. The gap in the US or in North America is less than 1 million. The gap in the UK, I think it's less than 500,000. There's not this. There's this idea that Microsoft can't put out a game and get 1 million people to buy Sunset Overdrive or get 3 million people to download iDarb, which was a great game.
Mm-hmm.
It's a source of I think not confusion, but it's a source of head shaking for I think all of us. Is where are these gamers? What are they buying? I mean, we know they're buying Call of Duty.
Third-party games.
We know they're buying Grand Theft Auto because those are the games that Call of Duty still still is the top seller on Xbox. Even pre-orders of Black Ops 3 apparently are still, topping out on Xbox.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy, yeah.
Battlefield Hardline, which was a Sony marketed game, sold better on Xbox. Grand Theft Auto has been going back and forth. They are probably close to even. One month the PS4 will outsell it, 1 month the Xbox will outsell it. But you get these games that Microsoft is trying to invest in, And it's like I hear a lot of buzz about Recore, but what numbers are they going to do?
Now, that's the thing. I don't understand it either. I mean, when I saw Sunset Overdrive demoed, it was an instant buy for me. Forza Horizon, instant buy. Obviously, Halo, I'm gonna jump all over that. I mean, so Recore, it looks interesting. Why wouldn't I buy it? So
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't answer that question. It is strange that even now there's obviously more Xbox Ones out there. So you would think that people would pick up those old titles, for $20 or $30, however much Sunset Overdrive is now. I don't know.
Yeah, but Mike, don't you think? I think it's the third-party titles like you talked about, the Call of Duties, the Battlefields, all those games that tie into online to Xbox Live too. I mean, a lot of those online games are big sellers for the system.
They are. Which is why, when it came down to the Call of Duty stuff, you know what my position is on it. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago. I don't think that this marketing deal is going to be the big splash that everybody on Sony's side thinks it's going to be, because
Yeah.
I don't know how many people are actually going to drop their Xbox One, Xbox Live accounts, their gamer score, all the things that come along with it just to jump over just for map packs. But Microsoft is in a position where they need to tell people you can buy Battlefront and Call of Duty and Halo and Forza and Rise of the Tomb Raider for an entire year only on one platform, ours. If they can't get that done, and there's a possibility that they fail at that. Sony may have a much better holiday than Microsoft does, and I'm not big into numbers. I don't do the MPD numbers game. I don't get into that. And Next Level Gaming as a site, when we were a site back last gen, we never did. We never posted the numbers, never talked about the numbers. We didn't do any editorials about how, oh, Sony's dead, that kind of thing that you hear now with Microsoft. We just didn't do that. We talked about games. We talked about good things on both their console and, of course, Nintendo, which was running away with the Wii. We didn't do that stuff like it's done now. And so I don't care about sheer numbers of who's going to sell more in December than the other, but there is market share and there is mind share at stake that could put Microsoft in a bigger hole than they want to be investor-wise. And there is a real possibility that Sony can increase that mind share this holiday if Microsoft cannot get across that, hey, they've got marketing, but we still have the games plus our games.
Right. I mean,
And backwards compatibility.
Right. If you look at this holiday and you look at all the content coming, even the new content, and then Halo 5, then once the backwards compatibility is out of beta and everybody gets those 100-plus games, if this holiday they don't make a dent, then I don't know what they're doing. You know what I mean? I don't think that they would know at that point.
It's like, what else can you do?
Right.
Yeah, especially if Sony keeps the price at $399, and they don't make it dent at $350, and they have all these games and the backwards compatibility.
Yeah.
You got to believe that based on last holiday, how they did well, that
Right.
they should do even twice as much this holiday as they did last holiday.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think that the narrative that they won't do well doesn't make sense. They're going to do well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I didn't
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
make
yeah.
that. I'm sorry if I came across that
No,
way.
not at all. But I mean, for me personally, doing well isn't getting outsold by 100,000 units. You can't get outsold at all, especially
No.
in the U.S. with all this content. That's not doing well.
Right.
Yeah.
I understand why there hasn't been a lot of consternation and a lot of panic in Microsoft's camp over MPD numbers, because of course their last financials, which we went over in the last podcast, were actually very positive for them. The Xbox is making money. It's increasing its revenue, and that's a good thing. But holiday is their big You know, Aaron Greenberg said it himself. The rest of the year is preseason. Holiday is, you know, that's their big push.
It's their Super Bowl.
It's their Super Bowl. But this year, they're going up with a lineup that is literally unmatched. I mean, I am not begrudging Sony. I'm not. This is not a Sony sucks kind of thing. But to an objective person that steps back and looks at the holiday, there is an absolute advantage to Microsoft. Absolute.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
But
Yeah.
Sony has an ability to take these games that are coming out on the Xbox and make them look like they're not. And you alluded to this, I think, last week when you were talking about, Enrique, getting your PS4. Which bundle did you get?
The Batman Arkham Knight bundle.
And when you
And-
saw it, go ahead.
Yeah, when you walk in the store and you see, the marketing at the, at the end there, and in big letters, PS4, Batman Arkham Knight, exclusive to PS4. Now below that, in smaller letters and font, you see what it actually is exclusive. It's the DLC. But if you're not paying attention, you're not reading that, the first thing you're going to see,
Sure.
because it's eye level, is that this game's exclusive to the PlayStation 4.
And that's brilliant.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant. Like, I mean, they are masters at marketing.
You know what I think drives you crazy, though, Mike? You look at, and I think about this too, you look at the company with, say, 97, 98 billion in reserve cash, Microsoft, to do whatever they want with it. And the company that's downsizing just to stay alive is doing more and spending more to market than Microsoft, which is strange.
It is. Now,
And they're brilliant at it.
They
I mean,
are
their
brilliant.
Ads are brilliant.
they are brilliant. Now, what it will say to play the other side of that is, as you know, if we take Aaron Greenberg at his word, and I do, let me be clear. Just because I disagree with them on this Tomb Raider thing, and I've had disagreements on things like Witcher 3 and pulling Kinect out and stuff like that, does not mean that I don't believe that they have the right team in place. It does not mean that I don't believe that Phil Spencer is doing a phenomenal job of trying to take, the Don Matrick era and fix it, and he is. But the marketing for Microsoft's holiday stuff has not even started yet, and that's where I think we're going to see whether or not they pull the war chest open and start just showering cash on everything.
Yeah.
They still have Rare Replay coming that they have to market, and then they have to market Gears of War Ultimate, and then once that's out of the way, then they have to start marketing Forza, because you haven't seen jack on Forza 6 other than what came out of E3, which is driving me nuts, by the way. And then after Forza,
Gamescom.
I'm hoping. And then after
Yeah.
Forza, then they're going to start marketing Halo. And
That's going to be Times Square is going to be like the last one. Times
Yeah.
Square was just taken over by Halo in New York.
By Halo, yeah. I remember that.
And look, I think some of their viral marketing that they've been doing has been really cool. The Hunt the Truth stuff, and that dual commercial they put out, Lock and Chief.
That was excellent.
Was phenomenal. I mean, it's really cool, and it's getting people to talk about it. That's there in September. You're going to see once Forza ships, and they turn their focus to that. I think that's where their marketing is going to kick in. The question is, they're not going to be able to really market Call of Duty. They're not going to be able to market Battlefront because Sony will. That's what they're going to have to go up against. And you guys are right. Sony knows how to market. You know damn well that there's going to be a Battlefront bundle and a Call of Duty bundle, and possibly custom consoles, because Sony loves them some custom consoles.
Absolutely.
And I wouldn't be surprised if we see those custom consoles. Well, they have one coming out September with the Destiny one.
Yep.
The Taken King one. Which,
Yeah.
It's a custom console based on DLC for a main game. I don't think that's ever happened before.
No.
That might be, that's probably first.
And it's a beautiful console.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
So, this is
Amber's going to get one.
That's what she said. She was eyeing it down. Look, Gamescom is going to be a good barometer, I think, of where Xbox gamers are and where gamers in general are. Crackdown is going to be one of my most anticipated
Can't
Hmm.
wait.
games. And,
Yeah,
the
that's gonna
great
be
thing
awesome.
is, Enrique, I didn't realize this, that Gamescom Microsoft conference is Tuesday morning, which means when we get back together to record, we're gonna be able to talk about that conference. And I'm hoping,
We have a 3-hour podcast.
oh my God, I'm hoping it's a 3-day podcast.
Yeah.
Quantum Break
Yep.
and Scalebound, and supposedly there's some announcements that they're going to make. So, this is going to be a good barometer for where their consumer interest is towards the holidays. And this is, Worry hits it on the nose. This is a critical time. Would you say Worry is do or die?
The only reason why I wouldn't say do or die is because it's Microsoft. I mean, they have. I mean, look at their phone division, right? They're still funding that.
Uh-huh.
They're still fighting. They're still keeping it alive. So, I mean, if they're doing all that, they're not just all of a sudden going to drop Xbox if it doesn't
No.
if it
No.
doesn't sell. It's going to sell really well because of that content. Personally, though, for me, what I'm saying is that let's say I'll just make up a number. Let's say the PlayStation sells 500 units and the Xbox sells 479. That's not a win in my estimation based on the content that they have this holiday.
And especially at the price points they're at,
Exactly.
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they're gonna
350.
throw the moon, I think, at people this holiday season. I think you're gonna get, you know, I think you're gonna get a $399 console with a terabyte and maybe 2 games. And I don't know that Sony's gonna match any of that. They're gonna have their single game bundles, but I don't think they're gonna throw, I don't think they're gonna throw that out there because they've already spent all this money
Yeah.
on the deals.
Yeah.
And you'll still see the 349 500 gig model with you might see a 299 model with no game and a 349 model with the pack-in games. And if they can't do it, then
Hmm.
you're right. What do they do? But as long as those financials come through and show that the Xbox is making them revenue, it's funny. They lost $3.2 billion last quarter, but yet the Xbox revenue, total Xbox revenue, we talked about it was 27% stronger.
Mm-hmm.
Because they are selling consoles and the console
Yep.
sales are growing. They're just not growing to the rate that the PS4 is growing. You have to take your hat off to what Sony has been able to accomplish this generation. You really do. You have to. It's like Worry. You said that the bundle for Tomb Raider next year could be the Lara Comes Home bundle, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think the PS4 for a lot of Sony gamers is the PlayStation Comes Home.
It
One
is.
one of my
Yeah.
one of my theories, and I still stick by this at least until we get another year or 2 in. The reason that the PS4 has shot out of the gate as it is because there are a lot of PlayStation owners who can't wait to get out of their PS3s and get into this beast of a console. And while the Xbox One is also a beast of a console, the Xbox 360 was a beast of a console, and it's hard to make that jump when you don't think that jump is as big.
I say this all the time. I say that the PS4 is the 360 and the Xbox One is the PS3. That they just completely flip-flopped
Yeah.
and changed positions. PlayStation and Sony, they took the playbook that Microsoft wrote with the 360. A few first-party titles spread out over a long period of time and the best third-party content that you can get. That's what they did with the PlayStation. They made it very easy for developers, and people are lazy. They take the shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. A developer's going to code for the easiest common denominator, and that's the PlayStation. That's what
Yep.
happened with the 360 versus
Yep.
the PS3. And
Yep.
it's strange that Microsoft didn't see that strategy and just follow through with it, but that's what happened.
Well, Matrick had a different idea,
Mhm.
and he totally misread the entire industry. I think Phil Spencer has that idea. I think what they're doing now, and this is going to
Yeah.
kind of go into our next our next topic, and probably for the purposes of not having a 2.5-hour podcast, our last topic before we shoot into the news.
Yep.
Windows 10. So this is a good segue into that. I think where Phil Spencer and the entire Microsoft corporation, we have to include, because this is an operating system too. This whole Windows 10 thing, I think, is a larger deal than people want to make it out to be. Especially because they can roll the Xbox into this ecosystem and make this major change to their UI, make this major change to their SDKs so fast, and get these universal apps going, and make it so that you have all of these cross-play games that you can pick up on one system and play on another, and then come back to. And this is where I think Microsoft is going to throw their gauntlet down.
Yeah, I mean, I think again, it's going to be the same users are going to gravitate towards it. The Microsoft users, the Windows users, how they're going to roll that into getting console users excited. I'm going to wait and see what happens with the Xbox. Now I know that new UI. I'm in the preview program for the Xbox, so whenever they drop that, I'm going to get it. I know you're going to get it too. That looks amazing to me. That new dashboard. I can't wait to use that, to try it out. They're talking about 50% faster speed, which is great.
Oh wow.
For the navigation and the UI, but as far as the games going back and forth and the apps, I'm going to wait and see how that all works out. I'm not sure even how they're going to implement that.
With respect to
an app that's specifically on, say, a PC. Am I instantly going to have it on the Xbox One as well, or is it just going to be they're going to pick and choose which apps go, or is the whole ecosystem just open? As long as you're in it, everything you have and do is there, no matter where you are.
I think as long as you develop for that ecosystem, it will be. That was the whole plan. And it kind of goes into the cross-play, cross-buy games that they're developing.
Right.
You've got Fable Legends, which I think people underestimate what the cool part about that is. This isn't just share play where you can just use your Vita and carry your game with you. This is, you can sit down at the Xbox and play Fable Legends. Then I can go to work, and on my lunch break, I could play Fable Legends, and it carries all of my stats, all of my characters. I could pick up where I left off. Then I could go back home, sit down at the couch, turn on the Xbox, and just keep going. And then I can play against somebody who's playing on the PC. So if my friend doesn't have an Xbox, but he's got Fable Legends on the PC, him and I can play. Those are the things that make this whole thing work. And I think that the more you see it, the more the developers are going to want to do it. So you have Fable Legends, you have Gigantic, you have iDarb, you have Gears. All of these games that are going to be cross-platform. I think it's a winner. And then you have streaming. I mean, for those of you who are on our Twitter and who haven't seen it yet on our YouTube channel, I've got 2 videos that do game streaming. One of them to a PC and one of them to the Surface, which is what we're using for this recording. And it works fantastic. Which means I can go upstairs into my bedroom or into the family room where the kids are, and if I can't sit down here and play all night, I could play up there where they are.
Oh, let me just tell you, Mike, my wife is going to love that feature.
Yeah, I know.
You're going to be relegated to the Surface tablet playing your games from now on.
Right. On a nice 12-inch screen.
Exactly.
But it works flawlessly. I mean,
it does. Yeah.
I think that's what they're doing. They're building out their ecosystem. You know what I mean? They're trying to broaden it out to as many areas as possible. Now, what do you think? What do you think that's going to do to the identity of, just say, the console?
I think that there's always going to be a need for a set-top box of some sort. I just don't know what it's going to be past this.
Yeah. Well, we talked about this earlier in the week, Mike. I mean, I personally think, like you just said, a set-top box, and then being able to connect, anywhere on a mobile device to access your content. And then maybe in the future, who knows, maybe just an app. Like how Sony has a PlayStation app on the Samsung TVs where you can access some content now. I could see something like that in the future.
Well, that's what Sony's banking on with PlayStation Now.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about this as well. If you remember, back in 2002 and 2003, there was a company that was trying this with a product that never came out. It never made it to market, but I still have a T-shirt from E3 where I got to actually see it. Worry, do you know what it might be? You're kind of in my age range.
It was a T-shirt.
No, the console. There was a console that a company called Infinium Labs was making. That was it sort of was the precursor to all this digital download stuff.
Oh, I don't remember the name.
The Phantom.
Yes, the Phantom.
I saw it. It was a live product for about a month. It never made it to market. But that was the whole idea. You know what it really is kind of the precursor to is the Steam machine. What Steam's trying to do. Sell you a box, except Infinium Labs wanted to sell you basically a subscription. They were going to give you the console, and they were going to update the console and upgrade it when new hardware came out, and you paid a subscription for it and the games. Never made it.
Where have I heard that before? Remember when the Xbox One rumor was going around? They were going to give you an Xbox One for free as long as you signed the deal with a cable company.
Right?
Yeah, I remember that.
Nice memory. Yeah, but it's funny how that is now kind of where things are going.
Exactly. Yeah.
It
is. It is strange that people are always so against. There's the old saying that people don't know what they want until you tell them. And it's strange because people always fight against these ideas of doing other things, but then 4 or 5 years in, everyone's doing those other things.
Yes.
It's just you have to know how to say it the correct way.
Yeah.
And introduce it to people.
We know that all too well. We know what happened there.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I remember that with Xbox Live when Xbox Live first came out. I remember people saying, why would I want a game with somebody online? I could just have my friends come over.
You know what I remember, Enrique? I remember people saying to me, oh, I can't believe it's broadband only. What about all these dial-up users?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, look at where we are now.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. 15 years later, whatever it is, 13 years later.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Windows 10 is I think it's the gauntlet for Microsoft on multiple levels, but they definitely I think Phil Spencer had a hand in what Windows 10 was going to do. And I think it's interesting if you listen to him and Sudo Kanoda at E3, the Windows Insider program, which is how a lot of us got the early builds and I was able to do the videos and stuff, was actually inspired by the Xbox Preview program. Phil said that they saw that the Xbox Preview program was so popular that why couldn't they do this for Windows too? I mean, get it out in the hands of people, let them give you feedback, and let the people using the operating system kind of mold what the operating system's going to do. And so that's where that's how we got to a start menu again, and the Windows 10 really to me it's like the best of 7 and the best of 8 put together. If you liked 7 and you liked what 8 could do but hated that start menu, you're going to be quite happy with what's going on with what you see here.
What do you think the adoption rate's going to be?
Well, I tell you what their stats. It's funny we're recording tonight instead of last night, since it has launched today. The stats I've seen are one install every 16 seconds.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah,
that's genius for them to give it for free. That was just so smart.
Yeah,
they had to do that. They just had to.
Well, that's what Apple does. I mean,
sure.
I can't tell you how many OSs Apple gives out for free.
Yeah.
their upgrades and stuff. And
It's easy. It's easy to give out a free OS though when you can only use it on your product, which is why Apple does that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
It's not like Android that's proliferated through so many different devices. It's Apple OS on Apple devices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but to be fair, Android, we've never paid for an Android update either. Whether it's Jelly Bean or anything like that. Now they don't make giant changes, and I guess neither does Apple. But Android doesn't charge for their OSs either. The only one who did was Microsoft because they could, and now I think they want to get this out into the hands. I think Satya Nadella is this guy. I've never seen such a culture change from Steve Ballmer.
Thank God Steve Ballmer's gone, by the way.
Right.
Anybody that comes in and like within the first year generates most like a 35% increase in revenue is a genius.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This loss that they incurred this quarter was the first loss they
That
incurred.
was the Nokia write-off, right?
That exactly.
Yeah.
Was the first loss that they had in I think 10 quarters.
Mm-hmm.
And they still made billions upon billions of dollars.
It's crazy.
People are like, "Oh my God, they lost billions of dollars and their shares went down 4 cents or $4." I'm like, you do realize that they still made $22 billion this quarter, right? I think they're going to be okay.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's going to starve this quarter. Yeah. And they still have all this money overseas that they have to find something to. That's where Minecraft came from. Remember, they moved all that money from Europe because otherwise they couldn't do anything else with it. So they bought Minecraft.
Yeah. How's that deal looking right now?
Oh my! I've never seen a game that has not fallen off the MPD charts ever. That game charts every freaking month.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere, and
it is everywhere.
And the HoloLens, and now the Windows 10 beta version, and the lunch boxes and T-shirts, and everything is Minecraft.
Crazy.
Potential movie franchises.
Yeah, there's still a movie coming.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So I think Windows 10 is really gonna be what they expect it to be as far as adoption rates, because it's free, and I know a lot of people want to get out of. I think Vista can upgrade, so I know a lot of people are going to want to get out of Vista. And look, if you're a gamer, you're going to have to upgrade because DirectX 12 is coming.
Oh yeah.
And whether you like it or not, there are developers who are using it now. Deus Ex from Square. Deus Ex, from Square. Konami, Deus Ex from Square. I'll never forget that conversation. What did you say? You meant Konami. No, Konami. Just shut up. But Deus Ex is Windows 10, DirectX 12, Fable Legends. Brad Wardall from Stardock is banking heavily on DirectX 12. And he's been all over.
He's tweeting last night about it.
Oh, he's been all over Twitter.
Yeah, he was on last night talking about it.
Will be eating crow. Seriously, he's been all over.
Yeah.
So I think the adoption rate is going to be really high because at some point, that's where developers want to go with their games to make the best games they can for as much of the diverse CPUs and GPUs that are out there on a PC, and I think people are just gonna go because it's free.
Yeah, we shall see.
We shall. All right, so we've covered Windows 10. We still have some time left. Look at this.
Yeah, I know.
Wait,
speaking of Windows 10, the one thing I am looking forward to is Cortana.
Yes.
I saw a video today of someone using that. And here's what's interesting about that is, as an Apple user, I have Siri. Now, Siri sounds like a cross between a blender and Robbie the Robot from the 1940s science fiction movies. Like, Siri, what's the weather in Florida? The weather is 95 degrees. But Cortana sounds like a living, breathing person.
Yeah,
it's like a natural.
Oh my
gosh! The person said, hey Cortana, what's the weather in wherever? And she's like, oh, let me check that out. Oh, it looks like the weather's going to be, and it sounded like you were talking to Jen Taylor from Halo. It was
yes.
It was amazing.
Wow.
Well, I don't look. Let's see. I don't know if you can.
Brian, I gotta say you do great voice impersonations.
Don't get me
I
started.
heard a podcast where you caught yourself talking like Dick Nixon.
Oh yes, that was me by myself actually.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Yeah.
I still weep for Spiderman.
Speederman.
Spiderman. So I just typed in. Let's see. I wonder if it'll. Let's see. What is the weather for tomorrow? Let's see what it does. It may take me to the Weather Channel. Hold on. Let's search
You've
the weather.
got mail.
Can't you just say, hey, you don't have a microphone on your PC?
No, not on my PC. I could do it. I could do it on the Surface tablet. Let me see if it'll come through on the Surface tablet.
So Cortana is going to join us live on the podcast.
Wouldn't that be sweet?
Yeah.
You could ask her
You
questions.
know what would be great if she said, "Hey, Mike, stop going to Gaff."
Don't do it, Mike. Stop.
And then you hear Siri in the background. No, go to Gaff.
Hold on, let's see if it does it. Hold on.
It's too funny.
No, it's not. I think I have to set up her voice and stuff. It's telling me what the weather is, but it's actually not doing it by voice. So I'm going to have to set that up. But
Hey,
maybe
speaking of
you know what?
games
Maybe
this
we'll
fall-
do that next podcast. Is we'll do a Siri versus Cortana.
Or do serious.
So, but yeah, I think Cortana, and I think bringing Cortana to Xbox One is genius, because if you saw the video that Microsoft put out, or at least the demo that they put out of what Cortana could do for you, versus what you have to do now to just get somebody into a party without stopping your game, that's craziness.
Yeah.
So, I'm looking forward to it. I really am.
Yeah, I am as well.
So,
Yeah, me too.
all right, so let's do this. Let's slide over to just real quick. What the hell's wrong with Xbox Live and PSN? You know, we originally were going to talk about the issues with the Street Fighter beta. But those were real issues, because for those who don't know, the Street Fighter beta was up for about 3 days, and it stunk, and so Capcom has taken it down indefinitely. So they are doing what they are calling extended maintenance on their servers, and at some point they'll bring the beta back up. But they had to shut down the beta because they were just having problems. And one could take that as here we go. Here's another Sony game on PSN that doesn't, that can't run. But all day today, Xbox Live has been having problems here and there. The last that I had checked before we started the podcast, they were still limited. The core services were still limited. So you can't really call out one, because they're both. We're starting to see both of these services having more systemic problems now than they ever have. And I just brought up the Xbox site, .com support site, and right now it still says social and gaming is limited on Xbox One, affected services, joining other Xbox Live members in online games, and it looks like it's down to just an issue with Destiny. But this is it's been on and off the last couple of days. PSN goes down. It seems like once or twice a month for a time, and I don't remember this really happening last gen.
Yeah,
No.
I think that they both have the last gen consoles and the last gen user bases to deal with, as well as this gen. So all those people lumping in together and working with servers for the PS3, 360, the Xbox One, PS4, but I don't remember, just personally using the 360. I almost never remember having issues the way I do now with the Xbox One. I mean, the 360 for me online, that was the bar. That set the bar. Not that the Xbox One is bad. I mean, I have both consoles, and I tend to have a much better uh, online experience with the Xbox versus the PlayStation, but it's not what it was on the Xbox 360 so far this gen.
The 360 almost seemed flawless last generation.
Yeah,
I mean, it was never down.
There was
I
that
can't remember
one.
either.
There was that one holiday,
Yeah.
One holiday. Yeah,
and I
that
think
was
it was the Halo. It was either Halo 3 or Halo 4 launch, and
It was Halo.
they just underestimated the amount of people that were going to jump online at once.
Yeah.
Yeah. It brought the system. It brought the whole thing down.
And that Run Ring of Death kind of killed the online experience too.
Well, yeah, man. But now Microsoft has built this infrastructure with Azure that is supposed to handle all this. It's supposed to be able to spin up and down as needed and to flow. And look, Azure is much more than Xbox Live. We know that it handles a lot of the world's business now too, and great for them.
I'm sure they're getting top billing over Xbox Live.
I'm quite sure. But Xbox Live, well, yes, but Xbox Live is still Microsoft's baby. I mean, that's their. Think about this. They are, going back to Windows 10. That's the infrastructure they're trying to bring in. So I mean, because they get money from businesses for it, but I don't think it's a small beans for Microsoft at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's. I'm not saying it's small beans, but I think that cloud business and stuff like that takes up most of the Azure time. I don't think that they have one whole server set aside. I was thinking that they would have one whole server farm set aside just for Xbox Live, but if they do, I don't see why there are this many problems, especially if it's a dedicated server,
right,
for Xbox Live, which is why I'm saying it's strange to me, 360 versus this gen with the Azure servers. It's kind of up and down a little bit more than I ever remember it being on the 360.
It really is. And look, on the Sony side, they better get their crap together if they think that Call of Duty is going to be big, because the last thing they want is to have a big meltdown on Call of Duty launch day.
Oh yeah.
And at the same time, Microsoft's got to get their shit together too, because remember the Halo Championships that were last week?
Oh yeah.
They had problems during that championship, and everybody started to blame the Master Chief Collection, but Frank O'Connor said no, there was an Xbox Live issue that day, and that's not good either. That's your staple. That's your staple game.
Yeah, that's what's strange to me. I mean, because for me, Microsoft Xbox Live is Microsoft, is the Xbox. I mean, it's sort of like it goes together. It's almost like peanut butter and jelly, Xbox and Xbox Live. I mean, that's their baby. So I really didn't expect to have the issues that I'm having this gen with the Xbox One. I'm not having massive issues, but again, like you say, they're noticeable because I think we never had issues with the 360 on it.
Right. And now you have Sony charging for their online, and and remember, Microsoft added $10 to that to that subscription and took away the things that, remember, they were forced into. Well, maybe they weren't forced into it, but they were kind of nudged by Sony into dropping the Netflix and the extra stuff that were extraneous, and we're still charging $60 a year instead of dropping the price back down. So they got to get their shit together.
But you know what? I know you and I get a lot of flack sometimes for being critical of Microsoft. Like, it's almost like, if you're a fan, you can't be critical. But I think it's good that you're critical of Xbox Live and say get it together, especially with recently the PSN, that better PSN movement, whatever it was that was going on.
Mm-hmm.
I saw. I mean, I have a PS4. I use it all the time, and they have to do better. They just have to do better.
Yeah.
It's funny that you say that, because it is kind of interesting how I can get attacked if I say anything bad about Microsoft, and everybody knows.
You
Everybody
got blocked
knows.
by someone, I think, for doing that.
Oh my God! Everybody knows I'm a Microsoft guy. I mean, the
Yeah.
Xbox is all I own right now. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody knows me as the Xbox guy, but because I can step back and look at things on an objective scale,
Yeah.
with this whole Tomb Raider thing, it was. I mean, I got beaten down. Shut up and just enjoy the game. Why do you care? It was like, are you serious? I can't be critical. It was just really. I I used to do another podcast before bringing Next Level Gaming back, and I actually the guy who I was doing it with was so upset that I was hammering on Microsoft for pulling Kinect out of the box that he stopped. He stopped following me, and we actually don't talk anymore.
That's so strange.
Because
That's so weird.
right, all because I was critical. I love Microsoft. I love the Xbox. The Xbox for the most part has been everything that I was hoping it would be. And I'm the guy. If you really want to talk about how Microsoft Xbox I am, I'm the guy who was standing on Microsoft's corner at E3 2013, going, game sharing, and I'm going to be able to get, I'm going to be able to not have to use my discs, but I'm still going to get the disc prices. And I was like, these people who are anti what Microsoft was doing or out of their minds. I was that guy.
And you heard the 24-hour check-in, and you're like, "What's the big deal? It's like marriage."
Right. I'm the guy who literally said, you could look on Twitter and see where I said, just pull out your cell phone and use that to authenticate. That was me.
Yeah, that whole 24-hour thing was a little blown out of proportion because, I mean, most people are already connected anyway to their console, to the internet.
You know what? It goes back to that knowing how to say the right thing at the right time that we talked about earlier.
Yeah, that's a great point.
They're just not good at it. You know who was great at it was Jack Tretton. He was great at knowing what to say and when to say it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you have to be. Coming out and saying, "Hey, we have an offline console for you, and it's the 360." I mean, not the smartest thing to say.
Right.
Talking about DRM in a way that makes it sound like there's guys outside with pitchforks in your yard waiting to come in. Not a great way to talk about it.
I agree. And so it's funny when I get critical of Microsoft and I get blasted for it. I'm like, are you kidding me? So
Right.
we are. That's what? That's what it is. We're old. So
Yeah, Mike, for some reason you really get kind of hammered on that.
I don't know why.
When you're critical. I don't know why. I've seen it. It's really odd.
I love my Xbox. I don't know. I just don't get
Prove
it. Right.
Make a video.
Make a video. Right. I should. All I need to do is just type in all caps. I love Microsoft. Go Microsoft. Xbox is awesome all the time, and that'll do it.
Yep.
So I don't want to there are I've got friends that do that are very much more Microsoft centric as far as they don't criticize, they don't, and that's okay. That's perfectly fine. I think I think the more positive we talk about these companies, Xbox, Sony, and Nintendo, I think that's good for gaming. I think that's good for the community. Talking positive and stopping all this arguing and BS, and just highlighting the good things. That's what helps the industry. But I can't be all sunshine and rainbows 24 hours a day.
And maybe that's the expectation people have of you. And maybe that's why they get upset. You kind of set that precedent.
I don't know where. I don't know how. Oh.
He said, "I don't know how."
I don't know how.
You're not all sunshine and rainbows.
Right. So where do people get that idea? So maybe I don't know. Maybe
Not
it's
from
because,
Gaff.
maybe it's right. Well, they don't know who I am, and that I'm fine with that. I'm an old. I used to post there, and I haven't since. My tag on other forums used to be Gaff Free since 2008. So I mean I
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I don't care. All right, so we've beaten that horse to death now too. It's I figure we got about 5 minutes left to go through some of the quick hit stuff. There's some nice news out there that we'll just do kind of a rapid fire kind of thing. As everybody knows, we have some great game releases that have released and are releasing in the next week. So yesterday, King's Quest came out, and I know that is on my list to get. How about you guys?
You played it way back in the day.
I did, 1990 or 1984.
I did as well. I'm glad that adventure games are kind of making a comeback. I'm not sure if I can say that they're making a comeback, but at least they're still around.
Yeah.
King's Quest is just fantastic. Definitely going to pick it up.
Yes, and if this leads to a remake of Police Quest, I'm just going to retire. Ken and Roberta Williams really pioneered that whole genre, and I have such respect for what they've done with that style of game and how they really, it turned into King's Quest, Space Quest, Quest for Glory, and those spawned other games, Legend of Tyrandia and stuff like that. And, those guys were awesome. So that game is out, and if I can pick it up, we'll put a review up on it. World of Tanks is out on Xbox
Hey,
One.
Mike, real
Yes.
quick question with King's Quest. What's the resolution on that?
Well, on the PS4, I think it's
I'm joking.
1080p, but on the
I'm
Xbox
totally joking.
One, I think it's 1079p, which means it sucks.
You know, it's funny that you brought up resolution. I was talking to somebody today, and they were telling me they can't wait to go out and get their 4K television. And I thought, should I tell them that you're a human being and your eye can't see that resolution at all? You know what I mean? Like there's a finite resolution to your eye.
Yeah. There's been
People are just, I mean, unless you have like an eagle in your family, like that you were bred from, there's no way you're going to, I can see it if I sit real close or far away. You don't know. I mean, then there's 8K, and then there's going to be, what's next?
I'm waiting for
knows?
24K. That's when I'm going to upgrade.
24 karat.
24K.
That's what I'm upgrading.
You have a gold TV.
Yeah.
So thanks for derailing the podcast there, Enrique.
Yeah, mind that. Well,
I'm sure people are screaming now. There's a 4K. You can see it. He's crazy.
oh yeah, you're going to start getting links in the comment section.
That's
about
what
how
see.
human
This
eye
is
can
great.
See 4K.
This is great.
I like
Comments below.
I like when the tweets start out. I don't know if you know this, but
Right. Well, thank you, Professor.
yeah. Say hi to Ginger and Marianne for me.
Listen, Bill Nye. All right, so King's Quest is out. World of Tanks came out today for the Xbox One, and
4K.
Yes.
right.
It's I heard it's having problems though. Some people are having problems.
Because Xbox Live was having problems today.
Yeah,
It's kind of on the back of that. So you wonder. I mean, that is a big game, and it's cross. It's actually cross-play.
I was just going to say that, yeah. Maybe it's some kind of Windows 10 thing happening.
It could be.
Maybe,
that could be what's called. I mean, you got Windows 10 people jumping on the app. You've got World of Tanks people jumping on. You've got all this stuff going on. Maybe they're temporarily oversubscribed.
And that Azure server sitting back there kicking up, drinking coffee, laughing. You think I'm going to work hard for you people?
Yeah.
So
Hey, I've got a question. So Xbox Live is going to be available to PC gamers, right?
right.
Yes.
All the features of Xbox Live, right?
Yes.
I know where you're
Here we go.
No,
Go ahead.
So, and they don't have to pay for it.
You realize.
Bum, 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 bum.
I'm just throwing that out there.
You realize that we're gonna have to dedicate some serious time to talking
Another
about this, right?
podcast.
Another
yes.
podcast.
This is gonna have to be another podcast because
Yeah, I'm just throwing that out there. Because
I've heard that too, and I think that is. Let's do this. Let's table that one for after Gamescom.
Yep.
Because you'll see a lot of you're going to see a lot more of that Windows 10 cross-play, cross-buy stuff with the Xbox, and I think it's a very good thing to talk about. I think it's a very reasonable topic, but unless you're ready to go 2.5 hours tonight.
Oh no,
Okay.
no! I'm not ready to go another half hour.
So, but World of Tanks can be played cross with the 360, and there's cross chat, which is kind of nice, which is the only game that can do it. Next week, of course, is Rare Replay, and
That's going to be brilliant.
that is. I only have one issue with Rare Replay at the moment, and that is the bulk of the 360 games I already have. So,
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
but I'm paying $30 for to replay Conquer and Battletoads and stuff like that, and I'm okay with that.
There's some of the games on there are really hard to find if you went to go look for them individually.
Yeah, no, they are. It's good. That's a great point.
Yeah. And so it's a great compilation. I'm looking forward to it, and
It's a great collector's item.
That opening video that they put out this week was awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And if you follow our Twitter, you can go back and find it, as well as there was a making of. And then one of the big indie games that I'm looking forward to is also coming out that same day, and we are going to be able to review that, Submerged. And that's the game by Uppercut Games. And Uppercut Games are the guys that developed BioShock.
That game Submerged looks brilliant. It really does.
It does.
It reminds me of games like Ico, if you ever played that, or there's a game out right now on PlayStation 4.
Ico was good.
It's called Torin. Toren, I believe it is, on PlayStation 4. You can get that. I think it's like $5 or $10, but it's really, really good as well. It's one of those really, really deep, involving, story-driven games. It's called Torin.
I'll have to look
I'll have
that
to check
one
that
up.
out.
Yeah, check that out. The cool thing about this game is there's no combat in it at all.
Yeah, it's all exploration
All
and
exploration.
experience. Yeah,
It's and it's all, I believe it's Unreal 4 engine, and
Mike, it looks. Let me tell you something. It looks pretty good.
beautiful.
yeah. So
Yeah,
we're
it looks. I'm
forward.
looking at pictures right now.
I'm looking forward to it, and we will be able to review that. I've already been promised a code, so we will review that game. All right, so those are the upcoming game releases, and we'll keep. I think what we're going to do in future podcasts is we're going to kind of go through all the game releases of the week, and then we'll tell everybody what they are. So we're going to finish off with some quick news. We'll probably skip a couple of the things that we thought we were going to talk about that are kind of lesser things, but there's a couple big items. Warner Brothers, they're on fire. It was released. News last week was released that Mortal Kombat 10 is so far, at least in North America, the best-selling game of 2015, which is kind of surprising. But it outsold Dying Light. It outsold Bloodborne. It outsold pretty much everything else.
Yeah.
And we have that, Witcher 3, and Batman in their stable, and that is,
Yeah, crazy, isn't it?
yeah, they are doing well.
They're doing very well.
Very happy for them. So we have that's going on.
Yeah. Wait, Mike, are you ever going to pick up The Witcher 3?
Oh, you didn't get that yet, did you?
I have not.
No, he hasn't gotten it.
So
he's I think he's a little angry at CD Projekt Red right
He
now.
didn't buy it on principle. He's like, I'm not
On
buying it.
principle, yeah.
I did not, and it also comes down to backlog at this point.
Gotcha. You have to play it.
Yeah, you're gonna love it.
All right,
It's
when
one of the best games I've played in years.
So
Hey,
when
if
it's
If
when
we had
it's,
that family share thing, I could let you try it out. Bud.
I know, but
There you go.
thank you, gamers.
Or that certain website.
No DRM. We have maybe, you know what? Maybe I'll get lucky and it'll be a games with gold.
Games of Gold.
That's a long way out.
Yeah, 3 years from now.
2023 games for gold.
My backlog will be done by then. All right. China is easing restrictions on their console sales. So where Microsoft and Sony were really only allowed to manufacture and sell their consoles in the Shanghai free zone, and now they may manufacture and sell their consoles across all of China. China has eased a 14-year ban on this. What we don't know is whether or not they're going to drop the region lock, because
Yeah.
the Xbox did have a region lock, both inbound and outbound. But Phil Spencer's there this week for China Joy, and what he wants to do is have a lot of Chinese developers. So does Sony. So I want to make sure that it's both of them saying this. They want Chinese games to kind of reach out and get global. So I'm hoping that means that the Xbox One and the PS4 in China are going to be region free. But this is a big step for the Chinese government, and a big hurdle for these console manufacturers. Nintendo too. They're now allowed without any issue to bring out the Wii or NX and stuff like that. They've got to break into a mobile and PC in sort of a gray market area.
Yeah. Hey, not to deviate a little bit, but you guys hear about the rumor with the what's it called? The NX?
The NX?
Yeah.
What do you
About
mean?
it being like using some kind of VR technology.
I didn't hear that. I heard about the Dragon Quest as a launch title.
I did hear about that.
Yeah, I didn't hear
Yeah,
about
there-
that.
Yeah,
But-
there was
but I-
something.
I can tell you, if Zelda and Dragon Quest are launch titles for that, then that's a pretty good move.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Gosh, that Zelda at E3 was awesome.
Oh, wasn't it just amazing?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's going to be good. I mean, love them or hate them, Nintendo really does make really good games.
We've talked about
Absolutely.
that. We're hopeful that the NX is kind of a back to Nintendo's glory days kind of console.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh, great.
it will be. This is funny.
Are you going to get an X, Mike, or are you going to make Enrique buy it like he did the PlayStation?
It's all going to
So
depend on
there-
money.
So yeah, Warrior. There's a whole story behind that, by the way, but that's
Uh-oh.
another podcast.
Microsoft
So-
Sunshine and Rainbows and talking about PlayStation.
Right. Right. That I'm not critical of.
Yeah.
So we all know that Hulk Hogan has been fired from the WWE for his
Oh, boy.
For his whatever this racist rant he went off.
He ran
on.
wild.
He ran wild. And it just left some of us saying, why Hulkster? I said my prayers, ate my vitamins, and he's let down a lot of people, and so the WWE summarily fired him. And 2K Sports has not only taken him out of the DLC that was going to come for WWE 2K16, which you kind of saw that coming, but they even pulled him out of 2K15's DLC.
Wow.
So you can't buy him anymore. And if you
Yeah.
did buy him and you have to reinstall him, he is no longer in the PlayStation Store or the Xbox Store.
He is gone.
He's like Marty McFly in the photo, just vanishing.
Yup. Unfortunately, his career in wrestling is over.
He's done. Yeah.
He's done.
But they pulled him out of both those games.
do you
And
know where the audio came from?
What about if you already bought him as the DLC in 2000 in the older game?
you can't you
can't.
you won't be able to re-download it.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, now on the flip side of that, WWE Hall of Famer Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Because Arnold used to wrestle.
Yeah, let me say that one again. WWE Hall of Famer Arnold Schwarzenegger will be playable.
How's he a Hall of Famer?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know
I
either.
don't know.
I think Mr. T's a Hall of Famer too.
Well, but
Well, at least
Mr. T, right? Mr. T was in 2 WrestleManias.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, he was.
He
Yeah.
was.
I
Yeah,
don't know.
this is why I watch TNA wrestling and not WWE. But that's a whole other podcast.
The only thing I remember
TNA.
is Piper's Pit. That's all I remember.
Yes, Piper's
Pit. Yeah, I remember that.
He still does that on a radio
Does he?
show. Yes.
Does he
Roddy Piper-
really?
Roddy Piper came to Joppatown, which is kind of where I live in Maryland. They came to Maryland Championship Wrestling. He was here a week ago.
Wait, Mike,
missed
have
it.
you gone to any of those events?
I haven't. And man, I kicked myself for that because we had
They
some
had
other
Ric
things
Flair
going
like a couple months ago or something.
Yeah.
Wow.
But anyway, you can be the T-800 from either the Terminator or Terminator 2 in WWE
I'm sold.
2K16. Yes.
I'm sold.
No.
I'm just gonna wrestle the Terminator.
So next we need
I wonder if he comes out to the theme music from Terminator.
Oh, that would be awesome, wouldn't it?
You know,
I think we should be able to have DLC of RoboCop then. Remember
RoboCop.
the old RoboCop versus Terminator game?
Yeah. Wow, good pull, Mike.
Wow.
I do remember that. That's a blast of the past.
Do you remember when they were making that RoboCop game for the OG Xbox? Remember the screens of it? It was like a pseudo third person RoboCop game that never came to fruition.
I remember that. Oh my god.
I remember because I was so excited. I said, "Look at this game! It looks fantastic!" And then just gone, disappeared.
Oh my god. It was
Wow, OGX. Do you guys remember Brute Force?
I remember
Oh, it was a
Brute
beautiful
Force.
game.
I'll never forget seeing the first trailer for it.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
four squad shooter kind of game.
Yeah,
Titus.
the sniper.
Titus was developing that game.
Oh boy, that
Wow.
RoboCop game looks so
Yes,
good.
it
If you can
looked
pull that up,
good.
if you're listening, go out there, pull that game up, check it out. It looked phenomenal. There was even a trailer that came out for it.
Yep, it really
And,
did. I was
Yeah.
so
So
for it, and
disappointed.
it never came out.
Yeah.
Titus had some great games.
Mhm.
All right, so anyway, back to
Sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah, we just deviated a little bit.
That's all right. 'Cause we're
We tend to
all-
do that though.
Yeah, it's what makes our podcast fun, and we're old, so.
Well, some of us are. But
So, all right. Next up, Fallout 4, folks. If you are looking for a Fallout 4 Pip-Boy edition, you're out of luck. Pete Hines said that, and I quote, "We made a shit ton of them, and they all sold out. Their factories can't make them anymore." So that is, yeah. And look, I'm very happy for Bethesda on this. It's nice to see a local
Yeah.
company, do well.
yeah, they're right in our backyard.
They really are, and I've been a Bethesda fan for a very long time, and I go back to the Dreamcast with Bethesda.
I just hope I don't see anyone actually outside wearing that. And say, like, somebody asked me if I was getting that, and I said no because I'd actually like to have sex with a woman at some point in time. In the near future. Like, can you imagine going out to a club and being like, "Hey, baby, want to go home? It's only 10:30, and you pull out this giant Pip-Boy edition watch. You're definitely getting in there."
Oh my!
Let me get your phone number.
All right, let me write it down in my Pip-Boy.
Hold
You
on.
can fit your iPhone in that thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah, let me get
But
my
it didn't
stylus
fit.
pen
It
out my
only
note.
fit certain phones. I think people
Oh,
that I do not think it fit the iPhone 6.
Oh yeah, I think you're right. I think the iPhone 6 might be too big for it.
I think it was. I think the
Yeah,
iPhone 6
I
and
think
like
so.
the Galaxy 6, and of course the Notes didn't fit in it.
Notes
Did
and
you-
fit, yeah.
Did you get one of those, the Pip-Boys?
Not a chance.
He,
No.
he got two.
I'm
Yeah,
married.
one for each arm.
I'm
One for
married.
each arm.
I'm married with children, which is why I also don't have an order in for the Xbox Elite controller because I'm married and I need to sleep in my bed.
Right.
So,
So, Mike, what do you think? Mike, what do you think of that controller? You think it's overpriced?
not touching it or knowing anything about it, I'm not going to say. I think
Yeah.
I think it's cool. I think things like having it goes back, and we'll talk about this again when that controller comes out. It's why I think another reason I think not a lot of
Yeah.
Xbox Pro players are going to move because they're going to get that controller with those triggers, with
Yeah.
the trigger locks and the bumpers, and I think it's going to be a game changer for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I'm not that much of a competitive gamer that I have.
Oh, I'm telling you that. It looks it looks nice. It looks nice.
You get anywhere?
Yeah.
I pre-ordered it.
There you go.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah.
I
I don't think I'm going to be able to get it for obvious reasons.
Yeah, the ring on my left hand.
Yeah, and in the recent PlayStation 4
Well, yes, which your wife
Yeah.
was kind enough to let you get.
again.
All right, let's wrap up. The NHL beta for NHL 16 is July 30th. I would like to say that where have we gone as a gaming society when an NHL game needs a beta?
Every game needs a beta these days.
They really do.
Yeah.
And then when you buy the game, there's more patches to come.
Yeah, which is why I don't,
And then the patches mess up the frame rate.
which is why I didn't hammer a whole lot on the Street Fighter beta stuff going down earlier because
It's a beta.
it's a beta.
Yeah.
And I'd like to remind people that even though I had a fairly um, glitch-free experience with it, the Master Chief Collection wasn't exactly the least broken game on the market. So, you got to call fair. So, these games are coming out with 25 gig first day patches
Yeah.
because of this stuff. So,
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
so we have an NHL beta coming up for NHL 16 on July 30th. You have to be in the beta, you need to own NHL 15. The reason I'm bringing that up is because if you are an EA Access member, guess what you have in the vault?
Wait for
So
it.
15.
NHL
Yep.
15. So, a game that's coming out is going to be revealed at Gamescom that you brought to my attention, Enrique, is Mafia 3.
Yeah.
I was a big Mafia fan. I love those kind of those were like the third person games that I really
Thank
liked.
God you said fan. I thought you were going to say you were a big Mafia figure back in the day.
Yeah. That's how NOG got funded.
That's right.
It was a mafia front.
That's right.
Little racketeering.
Well, I had my ways. So they're gonna reveal that next week. Project Spark has a 1-year edition that they are now celebrating. I can't believe it's been a year since that game's been out.
That's crazy. I can't believe that.
Yeah, and so you're gonna get. I think it's $50 if you want to buy it. It has pretty much every content pack that has come out for the game
Yeah.
since its release, except for the Conquer stuff because that's separately licensed.
Yeah. Yeah. Rory, did you play that game a lot? Did you get into it?
I got Project Spark, but I got it just for the Conquer.
Okay.
Because I'm a huge Conquer fan, but the
Mhm.
Conquer game itself within Project Spark, it was beautiful, but the controls were a little clunky.
Agreed.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a proper platformer Conquer game, but now you have Rare Replay, so
Now we're gonna get it back.
yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And then some new Witcher DLC is coming out. Not quickly, it's coming out soon, and they're
coming out
adding
soon, yeah.
and they're adding a new game mode to it.
Yeah.
I might be all over that.
Yeah, that might be the way. Speaking of DLC, and I'll just make this real quick. So is Dying Light. Have you guys
Yeah.
heard about the Dying Light?
Get the Dune buggies, right?
Oh my God! Worry, you played Dying Light with me and a couple other guys, and we thoroughly enjoyed it as far as I remember.
Yeah.
And we beat the game as far as, I spent a lot of time on that game. So it's called The Following, and
Yep.
apparently the map is supposed to be gigantic.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be almost as big. I can't remember what the exact wording was, but the game world will be larger than all the Dying Light maps we've seen. So,
That's ridiculous.
yeah, if you're a season
pretty
pass
cool.
owner, you're going to get it for free. They haven't talked about a launch price yet, but I'm getting it, and I'm ready. I'm ready to get back into Dying Light.
Yeah, let's do it.
So, all right. Well, I'm echoing a little bit, but we'll get through the rest of this.
We didn't talk about Destiny today.
We didn't.
Can you believe that?
Thank God.
I'm waiting to see. I'm waiting to see if our numbers spike, so we could tell Amber.
Yeah.
Which Amber, we miss you. For those that don't know, Amber's out on vacation this week and next week. She is headed to Ireland.
Yeah.
And we wish her a very safe trip. And
Beautiful
a wonderful
country.
time. Yeah, and I
Yeah,
hope she has a
she's
wonderful
lucky.
time. And hopefully she thinks about her friends at Next Level Gaming. She won't, but I hope she will.
probably won't. She'll be thinking about Destiny. She was actually thinking about bringing
Oh,
one of her consoles
come on.
She's
to
out
play
of her
Destiny.
mind. She was out of her mind.
So, Rory, I don't know if you know this. She actually plays Destiny on both the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 at the same time.
Wait, hold on. She plays Destiny on the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4? You mean she plays them on both consoles
Yes.
Yes, but she plays them at the same time.
at the same
Like-
time?
Yes.
Yeah, like she'll be in one game doing like a strike, and then the other game waiting to get people together for a raid.
Okay.
Yeah,
She is what we call
Wow.
in the industry
she's
obsessed.
hardcore.
Wow. I just couldn't get into Destiny. I bought it thinking it was going to be this, and I read all the articles on it about the great story and the deep narrative, and
It does
I'm
have
like-
a lot of lore to it. Yeah,
Where?
It does. Once you get into it, the thing is to get into it and start getting the what
The
are they called?
lore?
The Grimoire cards or whatever they're called,
Hmm.
and it starts opening up some of that lore for you, the Destiny lore.
Okay. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
And
You
with
you, you
that, we have now talked about Destiny.
yeah.
Congratulations.
I know. Yeah,
I just found it like it's kind of strange, just like working for the story. Usually they just present it to you, and you either
Yeah.
get into it or you don't. I don't know, but to each their own.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed. So hopefully she is not going to take her consoles
I don't
to
know.
Ireland.
She
And
might.
just
Yeah.
She
enjoy your
might.
vacation,
Take a
Amber.
break from console gaming.
Yes.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it. I enjoy Ireland.
Absolutely.
The sights, the sounds,
Absolutely.
the Guinness.
So next week will be Gamescom, and so we're gonna have a lot to talk about then. But I think we're gonna wrap this up tonight. We kind of went over a little bit what we thought we would, but guys, I gotta tell you, this continues for me to be just an absolute pleasure and thrill. Enrique, having
Yeah.
you as a regular co-host is wonderful, and Worry, look, man, I am so glad. For those who don't know, we had technical problems last night, and I'm hoping that this recording is fine. We did test this before we started, and but you weren't able to come on last night when we were recording because of a time issue, but you were able to come on tonight, and I got to tell you, what you added is something that I'm actually glad. I'm thinking that my Surface tablet glitched out on me on purpose. You really added a lot tonight, and it was been an absolute pleasure to have you. And
Cool.
we thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, to our listeners, thank you guys so much. We're still growing, we're still building, and a lot of that has to do with you guys. Please subscribe to our channel. You can hit the subscribe button right on the YouTube channel there. Check out some of our other podcasts. We're going to continue to bring you content as we can. Follow us on Twitter at OG_NL Gaming. We try to bring you just nothing but news without any kind of opinion and things like that. If you're looking for the object, just straight up information, that's where you're going to get it. And once again, we thank everybody for listening. On behalf of us here at the original Next Level Gaming, thank you guys so much. Worry, thank you once again for being on. We will see you guys next week, and play on, gamers.